Show notes only tell half of the story. For spring 2014, we spoke to designers about the moment they found inspiration for their collection.
Well, we were flipping through pictures, and there was this wonderful picture of Polynesian body art. And at that moment, I was like, that's it.
Driving down the Pacific Coast Highway, the beautiful ocean on one side, beautiful Malibu on the other side. So the collection is called California Road Trip.
For me, the vision was for it to be indefinable. I wanted for it to borrow from many places that Sarah Jane and I'd been, but also emotional experiences that we'd had in different countries over the last 15 years.
We're constantly being inspired from the collection, basically from our friends. This season we came up with sort of her being this native nomad, this globetrotter.
And really for us was about skin and the musculature and how it kind of weaves together to create something different.
Indonesia in general was probably the biggest push behind it.
We definitely bonded a lot with the local expats. There was a lot of expats. Really the surf culture and just it was eccentric and pretty cool.
We worked really hard to come up with what we thought was our own new saying of neo-romanticism. I was inspired by the Victoria and Albert show of the Club Kids because during that era, that was also what was termed a neo-romantic period. But I wanted it to feel modern. I didn't want it to reference any era.
It's Les Voiles de Saint-Tropez. It's a moment where all boat and offshore have a big reunion and a race in the Bay of Saint-Tropez and where all the sailors out in the wind. And I felt that it was really inspiring. It was about performance as well as romance.
Bonjour Tristesse, it's like the story of this French Parisian girl that goes on vacation with her father in the south of France. And it's kind of very romantic novel, so we wanted to capture that kind of late 50s, early 60s kind of relationship between a father and his daughter, so it's kind of nice.
It was sort of like a collective happening, you know, when all the elements started to come together. It just said, you know what, this is it. Let's go to Cuba.
The inspiration for the collection really came from wanting to push out a lot of love and light and happiness this season. So we took that and translated it into prints and color. Good vibes.
I went to a movie out in Sag Harbor about Renoir, his life, which was so beautiful. And he said something to the effect of, there's so much ugly in the world, why not paint something beautiful? So I was like, that's what I'm going to do.
I was at Noma not too long ago, which is in Copenhagen. Noma is very filled with all this kind of mid-century modern furniture, but yet you're eating this food that is so kind of forward-thinking, and it was this really interesting juxtaposition. The whole inspiration kind of came about from that meal, and to really kind of bring that into fashion was an interesting way to do that.